Hello everyone! Today we are going to explore one of the eeriest and most baffling mysteries in history. The case of Hoer Verde, the Brazilian village that reportedly vanished overnight. Unlike other mysteries where only one or two people disappear, this case involves more than 600 residents who seemingly left everything behind, leaving behind a ghost village filled with chilling clues but no answers. The story begins in 1923. Deep within the Brazilian rainforest, Hoer Verde was a small but thriving community with families, farmers, workers, and children. It had its own school, shops, and homes. Life in the village was difficult, as it was surrounded by dense jungle, but the people of Hoer Verde managed to live peacefully and sustain themselves. Then, without warning, something happened. According to reports, a group of government officials or travelers arrived in Hoer Verde one day only to find the entire village empty. Houses stood silent. Food was left on tables as if people had stepped away mid-meal, and tools were scattered as if abandoned in haste. The most haunting discovery was inside the local school. On the blackboard, written in chalk, were the words, "There is no salvation." The words sent chills down the spines of those who discovered the scene. Who wrote them and why? Was it a warning, a desperate message, or part of some ritual? No one knows. The disappearance of the entire population raises countless questions. How could more than 600 people vanish without leaving a single trace of struggle or violence? No bodies were ever recovered, and no clear signs of mass migration were found. If the villagers had chosen to relocate, why did they leave behind all their belongings, livestock, and food? Some theories suggest that the villagers may have fled due to conflict with nearby groups or political unrest. Brazil in the 1920s was experiencing instability, and Hoer Verde may have been caught in the middle of violence. However, if this were the case, there should have been evidence. Burned homes, abandoned weapons, or at least records of conflict. None were found. Others believe the disappearance was linked to supernatural forces. The ominous message on the blackboard seems almost apocalyptic, as though the villagers believed something catastrophic was coming. Could they have been victims of a mass cult ritual? Could they have vanished due to some unexplained paranormal phenomenon? Some paranormal researchers even compare the case to the lost colony of Roanoke in North America, where an entire settlement disappeared, leaving only a single cryptic word carved into a tree. Both cases involve the vanishing of large populations. Both leave behind cryptic clues, and both remain unsolved to this day. The possibility of mass hysteria or religious fervor has also been discussed. Perhaps the villagers followed a charismatic leader who convinced them that their salvation lay elsewhere, leading them to abandon their homes. The blackboard message could have been the leader's declaration, urging them to leave their earthly lives behind. But where did they go? And why did no one ever find them? Then there are the darker theories: alien abduction, portals to another dimension, or even experiments that went terribly wrong. Such ideas may sound outlandish, but when 600 people vanish overnight, it pushes the limits of imagination. Over time, the legend of Hoer Verde grew, spreading across Brazil and eventually around the world. However, skeptics argue that the story may be exaggerated or even fabricated, as historical records about the incident are scarce. Some believe Hoer Verde may never have existed at all, and that the tale is more folklore than fact. Yet, for many, the mystery feels too vivid and chilling to dismiss. The disappearance of Hoer Verde forces us to confront unsettling questions. How can entire communities simply vanish? How do we explain the strange message left behind, and why has no evidence surfaced in over a century? The disappearance of Hoer Verde is not just about the loss of a village. It is about the enduring mystery that continues to haunt those who hear the story. What happened to the more than 600 residents remains one of the most unsettling puzzles of the 20th century. When investigators first examined the empty village, they noted several strange details. The homes looked lived in but abandoned in haste, meals were left uneaten, and personal belongings remained behind. It was as though the villagers had simply stepped away, expecting to return, but never did. The eerie message scrawled on the school's blackboard, "There is no salvation," added a dark and unsettling layer to the mystery. Who wrote it? Was it a warning left for outsiders, or a final declaration of despair from within the community? One of the most widely discussed theories is that of political conflict. In the 1920s, Brazil faced upheaval and rebellion in different regions. Some historians suggest that Hoer Verde may have been abandoned due to fear of violent conflict with revolutionary groups. The villagers could have fled deeper into the forest or relocated to another region for safety. But if this were the case, why were no records found of where they went? Why did no survivors ever step forward to tell their story? For an entire population to vanish so completely, without even rumors of their fate, seems deeply unusual. Another theory focuses on disease. The early 20th century was marked by outbreaks of illnesses that devastated communities. Some speculate that Hoer Verde may have been struck by an epidemic so terrifying that survivors abandoned the village immediately. The words on the blackboard could have been a desperate statement from someone who believed there was no hope left. However, disease outbreaks usually leave behind bodies or evidence of illness. In Hoer Verde, none were found. Then there is the possibility of mass migration due to environmental pressures. Life in remote parts of Brazil was hard, with food shortages, isolation, and the constant threat of the jungle itself. Perhaps the villagers collectively decided to leave in search of a better life. Yet if this was the case, the decision seems abrupt, as they left behind valuable possessions and livestock. Mass migrations are rarely so sudden and unexplained. The more mysterious explanations lean toward the supernatural. Paranormal researchers argue that the disappearance resembles other mass vanishings, where groups of people seem to dissolve into thin air. Could Hoer Verde have been the site of some unexplainable event, an encounter with otherworldly beings, an opening of a dimensional portal, or some natural phenomenon beyond our understanding? These ideas are impossible to prove, but the sheer strangeness of the case makes them difficult to dismiss outright. UFO enthusiasts have even suggested that the entire village was abducted. The 20th century saw a rise in reports of strange lights in the skies of South America, and Brazil itself has long been a hotspot for UFO sightings. Could Hoer Verde have been chosen for some mass alien experiment? While it sounds like the plot of a science fiction film, it remains one of the more popular theories among those who explore the unexplained. The blackboard message, "There is no salvation," remains central to the mystery. Was it written as a warning to anyone who might come after? Was it the result of a collective religious experience? Perhaps a cult-like belief that salvation lay elsewhere, not on Earth? Some suggest that the villagers may have participated in a ritual or mass suicide, similar to other tragic events in history where entire communities followed charismatic leaders into darkness. But again, no bodies were ever found, making this theory incomplete. Skeptics argue that the entire story of Hoer Verde may be more legend than fact. Documentation is scarce, and some believe the case was exaggerated or invented as folklore. Brazil has a rich tradition of ghost stories and unexplained tales, and it is possible that Hoer Verde is less a historical mystery and more a cautionary legend passed down through generations. Yet the consistency of reports and the chilling details, especially the blackboard, make it difficult to dismiss entirely. The legacy of Hoer Verde is powerful because it taps into our deepest fears. The idea of vanishing without explanation, of entire communities disappearing as if erased from reality. It forces us to consider the limits of our understanding. Were the people of Hoer Verde victims of conflict, disease, or migration? Or did something truly extraordinary happen, something beyond human comprehension? Even today, Hoer Verde is spoken of in hushed tones by those who research unsolved mysteries. It is often compared to other mass disappearances, like Roanoke Colony, or the crew of the Mary Celeste, where lives vanish but questions remain. The story endures because it has no neat conclusion. Instead, it lingers in our imagination, a ghost village in the jungle that whispers of secrets we may never uncover. Perhaps one day, new evidence will emerge, records hidden in archives, testimonies from descendants, or even archaeological investigations of the site. Until then, Hoer Verde remains a riddle, a haunting reminder that sometimes entire communities can slip into the unknown, leaving behind only silence and a single message: there is no salvation